Yes, good afternoon people. Another quick video. Today I'm going to talk about the interview between Vladimir Putin and Putin-Carlson in Moscow and the imminent Israeli ground offensive in Rafah. Before I get into it, share, comment, like and subscribe. Since the beginning of the conflict between Ukraine and Russia, no Western journalist has been able to secure an interview with Vladimir Putin. However, Putin-Carlson, formerly of Fox News, was able to arrange a meeting with Putin in Moscow, providing a unique perspective on the situation. Despite this, some Western media outlets have reacted with outrage, labelling Tucker as a traitor and a mouthpiece for Putin. They have even gone as far as accusing him of aiding a war criminal and calling for him to be banned from travelling to Europe. Why all the fuss, we might ask? Ever since the conflict began, we have only been exposed to one perspective of the situation. This viewpoint portrays Russia as the aggressor, unjustly invading Ukraine, a sovereign nation, for no apparent reason. President Putin is painted as a war criminal with a warrant for his arrest, while President Zelensky, once a dancer, is now being celebrated and interviewed globally as a hero. My question is, why wouldn't they want us to hear both sides of the story? The interview was a huge success, garnering a massive number of views on X, formerly Twitter, as the public was eager to hear Putin's insights. During the interview, Putin discussed the consequences of the West's sanctions on Russia, highlighting their negative impact on European economies and the cost of living in affected countries. He emphasized the need for dialogue to end the ongoing war, expressed his concern over the continued arming and funding of Ukraine by the West. He also stated, if the West stopped arming and funding Ukraine, the war would soon be over. And he also hinted at possible involvement of America in the recent explosion of the Nord Stream pipeline. The interview has been dismissed by the mainstream media as a PR campaign for Putin, full of lies and falsehoods, with Carlson not asking any real questions, but instead allowed Putin to deliver a monologue. I don't know if Vladimir Putin is telling the truth or not in the interview. What I do know is we are entitled to hear both sides of the story, no matter where our allegiance lie. So I salute Putin-Carlson for bringing us this interview, even though in some quarters it will never be forgiven. In other news, the Israelis have ordered 1.5 million Palestinian civilians to evacuate Rafah, which they are about to invade with a ground offensive. This is a densely populated area, which they have been moved to from the north. Where do they want them to go? There's nowhere for them to go. The US and the UK, countries that are fully behind Israeli actions, are now saying not to go ahead with the ground offensive, as it would have catastrophic humanitarian consequences. But as usual, the Israelis are taking loads of no notice. The United Nations and the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, appear to lack the power to approve a ceasefire, and anyone who advocates for one is at risk of being labelled an anti-Semitic. Currently, the Israeli government is acting with impunity and disregarding the concerns of the global community. There has been no consequences for their violations of international law, not one sanction, and the West is still supplying arms to the Israelis. The international community as a whole should be ashamed of how this has been handled right from the start. And I'll end with this. It is disturbing that the world can see a genocide happening and no one can call it out. It is alarming that any viewpoint that goes against the accepted narrative of the conflict is automatically labelled as anti-Semitic. This is becoming increasingly stifling, as it seems we are no longer able to speak our minds and must instead watch the horror unfold and remain silent. Our collective government's inaction and unwillingness to take action after 17 weeks of global protests only highlights their complicity in this genocide and their complete disregard for the people they are supposed to represent. Thanks for watching. Share, comment, like and subscribe. Out of here.